Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, aliens and monsters, time wraiths or quantum band users, welcome to Coquito Underground. I'm once again with the honor and privilege to be with Jedi Sports Network. Kevin, how are you doing this evening?
What's going on, Alex? Salute to everyone joining us on the chat and all over the place. Salute, salute, salute.
Thank you very much. Now, before we start, hit that like, that subscribe, that comment, that bell. It bings like Miss Minutes, but she's not as evil as the notification bell. Helps me grow. Today, we're going to talk about episode 5 and the season finale, or maybe series finale, of Loki season 2. We're going to talk about an analysis, breakdown, our thoughts, theories, Easter eggs that we remember and we know, and our final thoughts. Obviously, these are all our reactions and our thoughts, personal opinions. These do not reflect Marvel or in any way of any actor whatsoever. I want to put that disclaimer in case there's haters out there saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Kiss my ass. 1. 2, it's a show. Live life and let life live. You got a comment down below. We got the first comment of the day, and it's from Space Invader. Oh, I'll buy that for $1. Shout out to Space Invader. I ain't got Twitch for a while. I ain't got no PS5. So one day when I get the PS5, I'm coming back. Coming back, Space Invader. Now, let's go off the bat. And before we start, let's talk about our initial thoughts of episodes 1 to 4 before we get to 5. Mr. Kev, what can you quickly recap what you remember between 1 and 4?
Yeah, the story of the TVA. You're starting to see how it got funded or how it was made, the reality realm, and the different variants when it comes to He Who Remains. So I really enjoy that about it. And also every different person and characters, which we're going to know even more in episode 5. It's hard to give you the recap because we already know what 5 and 6 and we haven't reviewed it. So I want to say I like the way it's building for 5 and 6 to put it on in a nutshell.
Okay. And as we go, ladies and gentlemen, hit that button. We start off the episode of episode 5, science/fiction, with Loki time jumping back to the TVA in the future. There's no one in there. Everything's dark. You see that he actually finished the time loop going 1 minute into the future, finding a book, hearing hello, and then going a little bit more and seeing himself do that. He goes around trying to find anybody, and as Miss Minutes is saying over and over again, code 1220 fail-safe activated. Code 1220 fail-safe activated. That will come in the future, ladies and gentlemen. As he keeps going, everything's spaghettifying. He sees the sign. Thank you for your service. Fail-safe activated. Miss Minutes is telling everyone, and everything's spaghettifying. In the background, ladies and gentlemen, if you really look at it, I took the time and saw the Chromopolis in the background, and you saw everything getting spaghettified from the back up into the window where Loki was. And it was really cool how it was just weaving in. And again, Loki didn't notice that. When it was happening, he time slips back to another, time slips to one dimension, finds not Casey, but a guy named Frank in San Francisco, 1962. Why is that relevant, ladies and gentlemen? Because Marvel has supposedly said that Frank was one of the 3 members who escaped Alcatraz. Now, before we even continue after that, he found Frank in a branched timeline. Every member of the crew that he was with, it will be in a branched timeline. I want to put that out really specifically. Now, he talks to Frank. We find out that Frank was one of the 3 people that did the supposed Alcatraz escape. The bodies were never found, but in this reality, they got in the boats and they got away. Do you remember Casey? Who's Casey? Are you the boat guy? I don't remember the boat guy. Boom, Loki disappears. He goes to 2012, New York City. A doctor that we know as B15 is actually taking care of a little girl that fell off a tree, and then she wrote down, "Please don't jump on trees anymore." But the little girl's like, "I'm gonna keep doing it," by her face. So I get that. She sees for a quick second Loki. He time slips out. He time slips into Piranha Water Sports, where we saw that in episode 1 of season 1 of season 2, or season 1 of episode 2 of Loki, Mobius had a magazine of Piranha Water Sports. Then he gets time slipping into Sylvie's universe. He's doing this back and forth. Then we get into the life of someone I love so much named OB. Particularly, we find out what his name is. And his name in the branch timeline of 2022 is A.D. Doug. I want to put that out there. That's actually, I never knew that. So that's pretty cool. And he's in a bookstore trying to sell his own books. Because again, he thinks he's just a fictional writer. And he's sad. But again, he's trying to get your hustle. He goes back to his abandoned factory apartment where it looks exactly like the TVA, which begs the question, was the TVA built off his designs, or did he just build his world, his shop, like his office memory-wise? Loki comes in, explains about time slipping, and of course, Obi's going to believe it because he's a fiction writer. He'll say anything, yes. As we're talking all this, Obi is explaining what time is, fiction, and everything else. He tries experiments, as in he's trying to tase Loki. That didn't work. He's trying to scare Loki. That didn't work. He says, why don't you do it? Loki does the wacky inflatable things, try to get it. Doesn't want to work. He's like, you know what? Let's just try the science. He gets zipped back into another dimension. Now, let's stop there for a second. What were your thoughts on what we saw Loki being the TVA, Loki being where Piranha Water Sports are at the time? Sylvie, the doctor. We find out that B-15, as badass as she is, she's a loving doctor.
Right.
Casey, as scared as he is, he's a badass escape artist of the baddest jail that no one has ever escaped from. And we see an Obi, a man who's super smart, who knows everything, is a man who's all alone writing books. So what's your thoughts on that?
It's like they're escaping from their reality, or vice versa, because in each one of these characters that we spoke about, they're totally opposite of the characteristics that they're portraying in the TVA. You know, the bad cop or the authority figure that B-15 was, but she was a loving doctor in another alternate universe of Naprum, which was cool. Also, we see Frank Casey, who is supposed to be this. We don't know what he went to jail for, so he's an ex-con. He's a convict. He's not nothing good. But now we see him in the TVA. He is one of the most loving dude and caring and totally opposite. The only one that's kind of didn't change there was Ouroboros, because he still was all alone, and he was in control. He knew everything, and he was writing everything in his. I like when he says, "Oh, I wrote something like that on one of my novels," and I was like, it's like it's living. He's like. He's living off I bet the question, which we don't know, did Ouroboros time travel or time slip? Because he knew. He goes, well, you're time slipping. He knew it right off the bat and explained there. And he actually says you got to learn how to control your time slipping. And I was like, wait a minute. He if you look at that Easter egg there, he's kind of telling him he kind of knows without saying he knows it. So it's interesting with aspect from Ouroboros, with his response, and also with Sophie going in there going to her reality. And of course, she, for some reason, she loves McDonald's, and she just wants to be a McDonald's employee and drive a truck, and that makes her happy.
True. And we'll continue on. He does go back and talks to we find out where Mobius, aka Don, is. Don is a Sea-Doo salesman, has two twin boys. Not one older, one younger, two twin boys. One Kevin, the other one, I forgot his name was. And he always tries to sell his Sea-Doos. Easter egg, the cinematographer for season 2, episode 1, 2, 4, and this one, 5, is the guy telling Mobius, I don't want a Sea-Doo, and he's eating a free donut. The director said that they wanted to do that so they didn't want to spoil anything at episode 6, so they used a lot of production crew and staff just to weed through the spoilers, which is smart. Don, he goes inside the office, he tells him about the TVA, and Don's like, no, it's ATV. I know what you're talking about. We have that in shop. He time slips out. Then he time slips back again, where we see Don taking care of his two sons. Kevin's burning something, and it's kind of funny that one of the soldiers looked like a TVA soldier. Same thing, which is burnt. A la Sylvie burning them from season 1. He stole some matches, ran away. He tells his son, go rang up your brother and I'll get you a puppy, maybe a snake. Duality, maybe as well, between Odin, Loki, and Thor. A lot of things right there. We find out that his wife left him, either got blipped or just left him. We did not know that, but we know that he's a single dad. He has his Sea-Doos, a perfect combination of form and function, which begs the question: did Loki give him that quote, or did he already have that quote? really a snake eating its tail in that question. We also find out that before Loki left OB, he gave the book to OB, the TVA handbook, which OB said, I actually make a bestseller. Sort of, but sure. Then comes in OB. Damn, Loki says, how'd you make a 10 pad so fast? I wouldn't say 18 months or as fast. Well, 19 months because my wife left me and I lost my job and my house. But I got the 10 pad, so let's go. So and then he explains to Don that you can come back at any time, you can come back at any moment. And then they travel back into the past where Loki meets Don in front of his house and shows Don, look, you can come back whenever you want. Like, the kids will never know you're gone. He will know. That's very important that he will know that they're gone. But he does accept the thing and he picks it up. He goes back to 2012, picks up B-15, goes back to the island after they just landed from Alcatraz. Just landed. We made it. Get your ass over here, Casey. What? Then he goes to B-15. No, sorry, not the Sylvie's universe. 1982 branch timeline. Before we continue, got another comment here. Hello, sorry for the bothering you. Nope, sorry. Anyway, here's a good point of this. When they're showing the fact that Sylvie has a bag of McDonald's food and a cup. I didn't notice this before. She puts it down. As the camera's zooming in, you see that the bag and the soda disappear. The Easter egg, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch it again, is that she looks at the mirror on her right side and notices that it's all gone, but then acts like nothing's happening. We'll put that out there. Loki comes and tells Sylvie, this might be a little crazy if you're like, I remember you, Loki. Like, okay. So they go to a bar and they try to explain and they break down what Loki really feels. He's lonely. He doesn't want to be alone. And Sylvie just wants to live a life because she's never had one. And it's her right. So they both are being selfish. They asked Eric for a shot of whiskey.
Bourbon.
Bourbon. And they said have 2 shots. Once again, as Loki has an epiphany and says, I don't want to be alone. And Sylvie's like, well, I'm not going with you. Sorry, man. Sylvie drinks her shot and looks down at Loki's shot, then leaves. Loki goes down to his shot, but there's no shot. The shot got spaghetti as well, thus showing me that Sylvie is knowingly knowing that things are disappearing, but she just doesn't care. She just doesn't care. Loki goes back. Sylvie goes back to the record shop. She sits down with one of her friends in the record shop, which I feel bad for him because there's no one in the record shop at nighttime, but it's the 80s. All right, whatever. Do what you got to do, bro. Sell cocaine if you need to, but I get it. But she sits down. She says, the guy tells him, put this song on. This will either make you very happy or very sad, depending on what happens. So they're sitting down. As we're seeing this, once again, it parallels to the beginning of the episode where in the background of Chromopolis, everything's disappearing. As a person's coming in. Now, this is debatable. And I don't know this is what it is. I've seen this a bunch of times. What the person coming into the shop before they got spaghettied could have been Sylvie in another timeline, or it could have been just a customer. Not really sure. But someone came in, got spaghettied. The owner sees it while pouring coffee. The cup is gone. The coffee gets spaghettied. When he turns around and sees outside, the same thing happens. The whole world is getting spaghetti closer and closer to it, and you see it visually, and it's very terrifying. The glass gets spaghettified. The chair, the table. He runs to Sylvie to try to save her, and he gets spaghettified. The music is still going. The turntable is getting, but it's just so visually scary but beautiful at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. Something that you can never see. The part that people are saying, why didn't Sylvie leave? What? When you have a home and you see it get burned to the ground, you try to stay there for the last second to have that memory for the rest of your life because you'll never get it again. And that's what Sylvie did for the last second of her life in that world. She just wanted to hold it because she had the He Who Remains temp pad, got out. We cut to Loki. Loki tells everybody who's all, by the way, Mobius is trying to sell Sea-Doos to freaking B-15. Casey's trying to steal shit. Whole bunch of clusterfuck. Sylvie comes in. Everything's ruined. My timeline is destroyed. We have everybody. Let's do this. Obi's like, all right, fine. Let's see the temp pad. Temp pad's gone. Casey, did you steal it? I didn't steal anything. Don't you lie. You do whatever the hell you want. You can steal whatever bank you want. Just tell me. He gets, as you know, and that part, ladies and gentlemen, where Don Mobius, I have to get to my kids. He doesn't have a temp pad. He's in 2000. He's in 1994. Your son and you are not even like, where are you running to? Gets boom. B15 gets Casey gets OB. Oh, it is a Y problem. Gets Sylvie. And at that moment, Loki is recalling everything that they had. Are we destined to lose? And at that moment, he realizes that it's not about the who, what, when, where. I'm sorry, the when, where, what, or why. It's the who. And at that moment, he uses that drive to help his friends, not the universe, not the none of that crap, not his brother, no, there's friends. He gets a time slip 1 minute back before everything, and then he time slips again. And then he realizes he controls it. And at that point, when he does it, we stop when Victor Timely goes down the ladder. And ladies and gentlemen, that's episode 5. Your thoughts, Mr. Kevin?
Yeah, when we go back to the bar scene, Sylvie says, and she knows that reality is crumbling, but she still tells them, send them back home. You know, let them. Yep. I don't know if she give that to me. To me, that's how like she felt like giving up. Like, you know what? Let them go to their prime line. Let them get pruned or spaghettified, but they have a lasting memory, and a lasting memory of at least, you know, Don with his 2 sons. You know, at that time, Frank stealing or getting out of Alcatraz and accomplishing his last memory of getting out of jail. And for B15 curing a little girl and putting a smile on an injured child, you know, with the cast. So she's telling them, just tell them to go home. Let them have their lasting memory of happiness. And you know, it plays back like you said when the record shop that she said, why did she leave? Like she was like you said, the burning house theory. She's recognizing and taking in the final positive memory. So she's telling Loki to go back and tell them to just go home, accept it. And when she returns back, she says, wait, there's something different. I like the fact that it helped with all that adversity. It helped Loki unlock his potential on realizing, like you said, though, about time skipping, how to control it. And I didn't even know personally with this episode and more to come. I didn't know how powerful Loki is in the Marvel universe. We'll get to that at the end when we get to that. Yeah. But to recap that last episode 5 before the finale sets it up there, like, whoa, what is Loki up to? What did he unlock? What mystery? What did he unlock in his powers that is going to make a big difference here with all this reality of multiverse crumbling? So that sets up with that episode 6 that you can't wait and anticipate, and I'm for it. Let's go for it.
True. My thoughts on episode 5, it was nice seeing the lives of every character, Mobius, OB, Casey, B15, and Sylvie, and seeing that even if they're totally different people, they still, in their core, want to help. B15, not so much, because you saw in the first season, she was a badass, but in the second one, she was nurturing and caring and you know, just very loving, and she wanted to help people, save as many as she can, as a doctor would. Casey is the total opposite of everything, because Casey is very meek, very like nerdy, but then we see that he had the balls to be smart and plan a escape from one of the most hardest places ever to escape. And what a nice little Easter egg is that the guy Frank, the character that Casey was playing, he escaped Louisiana jail too a few years before he escaped Alcatraz and supposedly died. I say supposedly because, you know, ladies and gentlemen, life.
Right.
Mobius was the hardest because he has been in the TVA for eons. Eons. That's thousands of years, ladies and gentlemen. And he didn't even know he had 2 sons. And just leaving them. And that branch timeline, because of that, got destroyed for whatever reason. Again, we never really explain it as we get to episode 6. But by learning that at this episode, Loki has control of time slipping. Now, when we get to episode 6, there's a big distinction of what he has after this. But I loved it. Visually, it's a very talkative episode. There's no action, but in terms of storyline, in terms of visual storytelling, 10 out of 10. Now, What we do next, ladies and gentlemen, might make you cry, might make you cheer up, but episode 6, which is the glorious purpose, calling back to episode 1 of season 1 of Loki. Shout out to the old Loki, rest in peace. We start the episode off with Loki time slipping into himself, but now it's not time slipping, it's conscience slipping, because he's going into the same person but just in a different time. That's different. He would in the 5th episode, he would time slip in different places and try to get in there. In this version, he's powerful enough to control his time slipping to jump into himself. So he jumps into himself. He sees Victor Timely go down the stairs, and instead of stopping him, he's like, well, let's see how this plays out. And it played out exactly the same. This time, ladies and gentlemen, they didn't show him at that moment getting spaghettified. They just show him going outside from the tube, and then the tube's like, he says faster. A nice little opera theme kept going with every time he kept going faster and faster. The cadence, like nice little disco opera theme. Then they realized go earlier. He went to episode 4 when Miss Minutes and Renslayer and Brad were torturing, interrogating Timely. And he's like, look, Miss Minutes, I know you're hurt. I know you're mad, but we need your help. The third person, he's like, so, and again, he tries and tries. He takes over OB, says, look, this is what you got to do. This, let's go. Boom. Then he says, you know what? I have to go back further back. He goes back further to when everyone met each other. OB, this is Victor. Victor, OB. You guys read the same book. Boom, we got to get it done. At that point, they tell him, you don't really understand the science. And Loki's like, well, I'm a fast learner and I'm a god. How long will it take to learn the science? OB says decades. Victor Timely says centuries. And because only to the fact that these two individuals, OB differently than Victor Timely took 30 years to learn the science and was a genius. OB had centuries to learn the science and he invented it. Loki's the guy that tricks. So we cut to fade to black, letters saying centuries later, not saying exactly, but more than one. Centuries later, he's learned the science. And that kind of proves that he's on the level of Reed Richards, Tony Stark, Peter Parker, now OB and Victor Timely. That's a scary thing, that a god is a god that's smart. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. He understands the science. I did like the Easter egg. They said password denied and then password entered. That usually means that he just, after hundreds of years, just kept doing the password until he figured it out. That's time and effort. He explained what he needs to do. Everything else, he's very calm. He tells Victor Timely, make sure to put the latch on. He gets in. And at the point that he gets in, you expect him to spaghetti, but then he freezes and then keeps going. I'm like, all right, good. Let's go. And as if we're hearing a mother trying to calm a baby behind a screen, you're being so brave. Just one step for the other. You'll get to the gangway. Make sure not to drop the third put multiplier because it will fall off the floor. Now just put it in there. And he put it in there and he pressed the button. Okay, that thing kind of sticks a couple times. So you're going to have to hit it a little harder than that. Thus telling us that even him getting to that point, he failed. Even getting to the green button in his press, he failed. So he did it. Boom, pressed it. All right, we're not done yet. Victor, come back. And at that moment when the doors are closing, when he's inside, I'm thinking, okay, it's over. It's over. My girlfriend Cardala, I love you, was like, oh, he's done. He's done. Like, just wait a minute. Woo, he's okay. They come upstairs. They talk. They see that it opened and the rings got bigger. But then for a brief moment, there was happiness and then chaos. And Loki's like, what's going on? It's not working. It should work. I did the math. I did the science. And then that's when Victor and OB give them the bad news. And to paraphrase, you can't scale infinite. The multiverse is an infinite amount of realities that never ends. It's as if he was saying that it's like trying to divide it with zero. It's just not going to work. Again, he said it's a scaling problem. Victor Timely said that. So, and Sylvie says this, the moment I killed He Who Remains, it was doomed to fail. Loki hears that and says, well, you know what? I have to go back in time. I put that out there. So we go all the way back to the moment that Sylvie was about to kill He Who Remains. We hear the stop, but this one's a little different. They reshot this. Because at one point in the first season, I went back to it, it was only one single hard camera showing Sylvie and Boo. And this time it was a moving camera. So everything was reshot. He conscience slips back into himself and he tries to tell Sylvie, hey, calm down, please, please, please. And this is a different He Who Remains. He's more goofy, but more just sitting there and enjoying the things. They go back to the elevator point where he conscience slips back into himself. And at that moment, we remember He Who Remains does the buttons, but he doesn't do it this time. It's as if he knows what's happening and he's just playing along with it. And after numerous attempts that most likely was thousands of times of him trying to stop Sylvie, he goes to He Who Remains and, hey, why don't you stop this? You have the power to do this. Why don't stop this shit? What the hell are you doing, man? So he does. So how and the surprise, I'm like, how long you been doing this? I'm like, And then you see, and he explains, you really think I was gonna let Sylvie kill me? No. You really think that it was your thing that you just automatically got time slipping powers and you stuck into the system? Like, no, I paved the road for that. I knew this was going to happen. So I made a plan that no matter what happened, you would just come back to me. Reincarnation, baby, which is true. People are like, no, it's true. This is reincarnation. Because again, he died, but in another timeline, he lives. So he tells Loki, you know what? How about you take this another 1,000 times and then you figure out, because that means you haven't really mastered time slipping, which then Loki stops Sylvie. What do you think? What makes you think this is the first time we actually talked? No, we've done this a lot more. So we get to the real. That's when He Who Remains gets serious. It's like, all right, let's get serious. What did Victor Timely said? Oh, it's a scaling problem. And I like this one point. He gets into Creed, He Who Remains. Oh, it's a scaling problem? Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, that's what, yeah. Okay. And I was like, damn, this motherfucker's a punch a guy in the face. Okay. But then he explains the loom is a failsafe. If the sacred timeline becomes more than a sacred timeline, the loom's failsafe is that it was supposed to explode and just destroy the TVA, and he would just do it again. He knew this was going to happen, and I want to put this out there for any Star Wars fans. When he explained this reminded me of Darth Sidious and Operation Cinder. When he failed, he's like, no, everybody gets burned by my own people because I don't want no one else touching it except for me. That's evil level right there. That's cosmic evil level. That's the same level as He Who Remains. And he says it nonchalantly. Loki says it's a waste of time, which, yeah, you've done this for centuries, probably thousands of years now, and it was a waste of time. Also, in the first season, we couldn't see the equation on the wall. In the second season, we see the equation. I don't know what the equation is, but we see it. And Loki says we can change the equation. And He Who Remains reminds him, my variants are already out there. It's already out there. It's already done. The second season 1, episode 6 happens, the variants were already there. So after so many timelines dying and branches dying, it did not matter because they were already in their separate space at the end of time, wherever they were, safe. I want to put that out there. He goes back to Victor Timely and everything else, and he understands. No, before that, he goes to the time theater and goes back to episode 1, season 1, when he sits down with Mobius, him drinking his Josta, which is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. And he explains you're going to show me my videos, show me my past and future, my failures and all that stuff. I don't worry about that. Who decides who lives and dies? And he explains the story. Mobius explains the story that when there was 2 hunters and they went to the Black Sea and they found this variant that was going to kill 5,000 people, but it turns out it was going to be a boy. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be an Easter egg for Doom because Latveria is around the Black Sea, usually around Romania, Bulgaria, but it's a floating city that always moves around the Europe area. So again, they said that might be Doom's son. Doom ain't got no kids. Even I know that. Doom don't like kids. All right, so maybe that might be like a loose Easter egg. Now they explained that the person that was going to prune that 8-year-old boy, he didn't do it. He froze up. So the other one took the hard choice and did it. We find out that that person was Renslayer, who got promoted into a judge. Okay, sure. Now, he just wanted to go to Mobius and talk to him because he needed to hear that. He needed to hear these words because he needed to know what the hard choice was. He Who Remains said that the only choice that you have is either kill Sylvie and stop, or don't kill Sylvie and let this happen all over again. Mobius tells him that with glorious purpose, it's more burden than glory. So there is no glorious purpose. You're going to have the burden that you have to weigh the same amount as glory. Put that out there. That's my little take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes back all the way to Victor Timely. He decides that he knows what he wants, and he wants to save his friends. So he goes into the gangway. No armor, no nothing. His clothes starts ripping off. And a lot of reactors on YouTube's like, you see him naked. No, okay, this is still Disney, ladies and gentlemen. Calm down. His shirts get ripped off, and then his prime Loki recent run comes with the horns and everything. Not exactly, because he has one horn, but still prime Loki. You see that he gets a little bit older, a little bit at certain points, as in old Loki. And people are like, oh, he's gonna die. We tend to forget he is technically Asgardian. Technically, he's a frost giant, but frost giants and Asgardians might have the same age limit, so they might live for eons. Again, Thor at the time before Ragnarok, he was only 1,500 years old. Loki at the time before he got picked up was only like 1,000 years old, maybe 900,000 years old. So add in centuries, add in a few more thousand years. Yeah, he's on the, not as much as Odin, but almost there. I like that. He gets to the loom, destroys it, and all the branches die. You see it. Just the whole universe is black with vines everywhere. He tries to grab as much as he can and tries to energize them, but they're not working. He tries to put their power. Again, he's already aged thousands, if not millenniums of years during everything else. His energy has exponentially grown as if old Loki. He grabs the vines, he keeps going forward. He opens, and through all the energy that he's trying to output through these vines, the dimension opens to the end of time. And you see his friends saying that he's trying to save us all. He goes, makes a infinite fucking walkway that he makes himself with his own power up to the He Who Remains his throne. Destroyed. No more He Who Remains there anyway. Uses his power to make the gold slightly gold. Not like his dad is all, no, just a nice little normal throne. Sits down on it and charges it one more time. One final charge that reignites all branches, not clips any. And as we do this, the camera pans, which I can show this, but again, copyright. The camera pans, and we see that because he's a freaking Nordic god. Hey, Honest Blade. Love you, boy. The branches of time become Yggdrasil. As in the Norse mythology, it becomes a giant tree up in the top, down below. We then cut black screen after with a dot. Don't know why the dot's there, but we see that now the propaganda is gone for the TVA. There's a sign of a tree saying nurture and nature. We help the timelines. There's a new department in TVA. They're all white. Could be medics, could be psychological people like trying to deal with the trauma. And now B-15 is telling Casey, we gotta go to the war room. He tells Mobius, which Mobius tells him, the Kang variants don't know that we're here. So there are other, again, the Kang variants are out there, and they don't know that the TVA is still alive, and they don't know that it's there. So they're hidden, and they're trying to track and capture and probably eliminate all these Kang variants. They also say that there was a Kang variant in 616 adjacent universe, which, with further analysis, was Ant-Man Quantumania. So that's what it was. They assumed that it was resolved. Put that out there. Mobius gets a file that says, as your request, here's your file. And it says MFF353, which is an Easter egg for M for Mobius, and final Fantastic Four 353, which was the origin of Mobius. So I want to put that out there. He opens it. We don't know what it says at the moment. He goes to the Great Hall where the propaganda was, everything else. He says they're going to take that down. Also, they bring back Miss Minutes, and B-15 tells Obi, like, is he going to turn back to the cycle? Like, I don't know. We'll never know. So that's an open-ended for season 3, if there is a season 3, of her might be going evil again. Mobius tells B-15, I'm out of here. I just want to know what we were defending. And I understand I'm scared, but I want to do this. We cut to B-15, the old judges, the librarians from season 1. We see some more engineers now, so Obi's not the only engineer in the war room, and basically they're trying to make a plan to capture all these Kangs, knowing there's a lot of Kangs. That's their main purpose. The branches are fine. There are no timelines dying, and we're going with that. We have a Kang problem now. So that's what the war room was made. We cut to Mobius seeing himself playing with his sons. And before anyone says, why is he getting there? Ladies and gentlemen, in episode 5, Loki took him out of a branch timeline, which then he could see himself. In this timeline, he was already out. He can't go back. He's thousands of years old. Himself is only the age of what he is in 2022. So he knows that he can see. Sylvie comes back and says, you know, what are you gonna like? I'm just chilling out. It's sad that Loki's not here. Mobius tells Loki, what are you gonna do? Well, by the way, for Sylvie says to Mobius, like, that lawn should be cut. Mobius like, no, that lawn's perfect. It's perfect. Like, that is true. His mind is perfect. He tells Sylvie, where are you gonna go? And it's true. She can go back to 1982, or she can go anywhere else, and that leaves it open-ended for the next shows coming up and the movies. This part made me cry. Sylvie tells Mobius, what are you going to do? And Mobius tells him, I'm just going to stay here for a little bit. Let time pass. And that's, before we get to the end, that head is heavy because he's thousands of years old and he's never let time pass. He's always been the same age, maybe a little bit, but less than what it is. And now he has a chance to bittersweet live his life. Not his life, but see what the life that he would have and let time pass, grow old, and see where your life takes you next. I don't think he's like, oh, I'm gonna stay here till I die. I think it's just like, I'm gonna stay here to see what I missed, and then from then on, I will live my adventures. As he's saying that, it echoes through the universe, which then gets to Loki, which he smirks. You see him in the throne and He Who Remains, holding all these timelines together because he's the only one that can, because he is literally He Who Remains at the end of time. And he smirks, maybe because he heard Mobius, and he's happy that he has a chance to do that. He's happy to let time pass. And at the end, song gets loud, and we end it right there with the credits showing every character from the show from season 1 and season 2. That was the ending, ladies and gentlemen. And damn, Kevin, your thoughts?
Wow, that's a lot there. Let me go slowly but surely, but quick. First of when we have that scene in when he goes back and he's going back in circles and rewinding.
Yeah.
As a child of the 70s, first and foremost, when they played the Fifth of Beethoven, I was like, yes, let's go, because I was listening to it on Spotify before they even saw the episode, and I was getting into it, and actually was an inspiration for me to make a video on it. So then I go and I go, man, this is gonna be a slapping episode. I can't wait. You know, when the din, I'm like, oh, let's go. For him to go back and forth and rewind and going through all the different variables, and he's learning, he's at the same time unveiling his skill set or his powers. And wow, he's rewinding and then when he learned how to do the engineering from a reporter that fast, I was like, yo, he is really want to defeat Kang. That he really wants to defeat him. He's doing whatever it takes. And I like your analogy of him being a mother. Take your time, you know, because they've been through that. He kept rewinding with no issues, no problem. He kept going back and forth, and really was a fun part with the episode. But one thing that I wanted to hit was when I saw Don with both of his sons, and I saw I wish I would have thought of it. I read it, to be honest with you. It kind of was like, is that Odin with Thor and Loki? one was a snake and the other, you know, with the puppy, the dog, and him watching over, you know, that's a good reference there. That's an Easter egg reference. I wish I could take credit for it. I'm not going to sit here with a bold face and say that I came up with it. No way. I'm not going to take credit for it. But I do want to talk about, though, when he goes back and goes, we've been doing this back and forth. I like when Loki says, how you not know? We haven't had this conversation ourselves. Yep. And that's where I think you saw He Who Remains can get kind of testy or bothered. Like, yo, you coming short to me? I'm the one that control it, and you like. But he didn't know that. I think Loki unlocked something, because when he goes back to the time theater, when he goes to the very first time he meets Morbius, he says, I'm here. I'm a god. I'm here for my throne, my kingdom, my throne. And that shows up at the end of the whole program, because he is sitting on his throne. He went from a villain when he got to the TVA to a savior, a hero, by grabbing all those branches and saving the reality of time and multiverse. Now, talk about a up and coming or a underdog story. This is where Loki season 1 and 2 came from, making him from an underdog, from a villain, the spies, where everyone wanted to kill all his variants, to now he's the main hero. And now it brings me back to the new established TVA line or TVA authority, is that now they're trying to do it the roles reverse. They started off let's get rid of every Loki variant, because He Who Remained knew that Loki was the threat in the whole cosmic universe that will stop him from the failsafe or changing the time of reality. Now it's at the end of season 2. Now we have a TVA that's going after all of Kang's variants and pruning and removing them from existence, because that's a threat to what Loki has become, who has become the center of the Norse tree, by the way. And if you look at it, it's symbolized, because it is the Norse mythology of the tree of life. And you know what? If Marvel showed us that from season 1 and 2, and if you're not entertained or pleased or enjoying this, there's something wrong, because it might not be the way you like it, but at the end of the day, the story it told us, and when it got us there to season at the end, bravo.
True. For me, season 6 was a masterpiece in cinematography, in a closing arc for Loki, in a by the way, I've had to say this, Renslayer, again, at the end of time. This is another part I loved. I forgot to say this thing. Renslayer we find her at the end of time, and she wakes up and she sees the pyramid at the end, maybe doing to Anubis Kang, and we see below her is the sign that says "For all time, always," kind of hinting that the end of time was one of the TVAs back in the first iteration, and it was just destroyed and gone someplace else, which makes her journey a waste of time. You want to control the TVA, and all Kang will do, all He Remains, was just destroy it and make a new one over and over again. So you're taking care of nothing that he cares about. Nothing. Right. At the end, we hear Eliath, and it is Eliath. People say, "No, it's a Kang." No, it's the voice of Eliath reborn into this. And again, she was crucial to taming Eliath and ending the war. So even though the director said that this might be a closed book for season 2, I think they left it like that, so make her believe that, she will tame Eliath again and probably go after Kang. Because again, she's pissed off at Kang. Doesn't matter which Kang, any Kang. So that she might come out in Avengers Secret Wars, maybe. Again, for me, the symbolism of Loki sitting down the Xristo tree, the symbolism of Mobius, letting time pass, and this new TVA, which will connect to Deadpool, which will connect to Secret Wars, which will connect to the Avengers, will connect, which I will think it will connect to What If season 2. It would make sense. I'll explain that in a second. But this is what's awesome and bad about Marvel. You make a final 3 episodes that were awesome. No matter what people say, it was awesome. And then the last stock that you've done have not been that great. And the stock that you're saying in the future might be great, but we don't know. Take your time. By the way, another Easter egg. There was a totally different premise for episode 5. a totally different script that was just nuked because the producers like, we don't like this, we want something different. So there was actually another story for episode 5 that the director had to write, and in his mind it was perfect. So maybe in the future we'll find out what that version was, because again, episode 6 was not rewritten, only episode 5. So I just want to know what happens there. Shout out to the director. Let's talk about the future of Marvel, Kevin, before we get out of here, because honestly,
absolutely.
Okay, like I was saying, it would make sense that What If Season 2 connects to this, because again, the Watcher has to look at all these realities, and he has to have seen so many times exploding, and he has to be at the end at least seeing Loki getting to the end and seeing it. So I hope we get to see that. That's one. In the Marvels, the movie, I'm not going to spoil anything. I will say that it does not connect to Loki. It does not. So people who are expecting that, no. Okay? It has elements of it, but no, it does not. What do you expect to happen now that Loki is over and we have all these movies? We have Captain America 4 coming up in a few months. We already have the Marvels. Echo is coming out in a few weeks, but that has nothing to do with the multiverse. So that's just a standalone New York thing. But in terms of the multiverse, where do you think they're going to pop up with this next, Kevin?
It's just my thoughts. Like we've seen that now the TVA looking at the Kang variants, and they're going to find the Kang variant so hard to deal with. It's kind of reminding me going back to where Nick Fury needed to make the Avengers and he needed to recruit specially enhanced talent to stop this Kang, because he's going to become so strong. Either we're going to get the 300th century Kang with modern technology, and it's going to take an Avenger type level of task force to deal with him, and that's how you bring the new Avengers or new Avengers or the Avengers, the new movies. And I think that's going to be a big way of introducing and setting up that plot when it comes to what we saw with Loki. I'm interested to see what Thor was going to, Thor, I believe he's getting a new movie as well. If it's going to connect with Loki, his absence of his brother, seeing what his brother has gone from villain to hero and what is sacrifice that Loki has done, if they're even going to touch with that. Because one thing that Thor was sad that he lost Jane Foster to cancer, and maybe he wants, a different reality where he gets a Jane Foster back into his life, and maybe his brother's the one that could bring that, or he could be tricked deceived with another Loki variant. It's so many different questions that you could do there, and I know I'm going a little bit, but that's what the multiverse does. So different realities and different stories that could come out of that. And if and for Marvel, that's a writer's paradise, because you could go with so many different interpretations and visions of different writers out there, or visions of it, and at the end of the day, it's not really wrong because it's a multiverse. So Marvel set themselves up for people, so us to give their money for all these different movies, and let's go for it. You might not like some of them, but you know what? That's why they go back to a multiverse, or because it's some different worlds and different universe. And I'm for it, bro. I'm ready. I love anything that has to do with that, so I'm geeked out on that
as well. And they've kind of confirmed that X-Men's coming back in the next couple of years. They kind of trying to confirm Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson to come back. People want Thor to come back, but again, he does have a mental condition that he has to deal with. So he's trying to he has to decide on certain occasions. So again, if he can, he can. This being that, and by the way, Loki can't stop the Kangs. Okay, he's controlling the tree. He's stuck in the tree. The Kangs are already out there, so all they can do is just probably. And again, What If Season 2, they kind of spoiled it. Doctor Supreme Strange is going to get another team to fight these universal threats. So Loki can do that for Secret Wars. Loki can be the guy to be like, all right, I'm here in the center of the universe of time, and I know who to pick and who not to pick to fight this war. We'll have the Avengers of, the young Avengers, or what they're calling them now, the champions, which is kind of a knockoff of the Titans, but sure. So we might see the champions and then the universal event, like the multiversal Avengers, pop up, which I want to see that. Again, Loki is not gone forever. He's alone. He's in his throne for the rest of his all eternity. And he chose that. That's glorious purpose of the burden that he has to do. But we might see him again in the future. And again, now, season 3, I guess season 3, we can talk about that real quick. Season 3, what do you think is going to happen? What, like this, again, season 3 would have to be either before Avengers start or after Avengers start, because it takes 2 years to produce anyway, and no one has even said anything yet that they're going to even make production. So we're just speculating. What would you like to see in season 3?
That's a good question. Here's a thought. Loki sitting at the tree there. I would say maybe they make Morbius the Beyonder, because he's able to, like you said, he just sits there and watch time. Sit there and watch time. Does he take the role now instead of Morbius? He morphs into the Beyonder. Similar to like the way Galactus has a variant to go in and scout a world, a planet, so it could be devout. Like the way, could it Beyonder be that guy for Loki? Could we set that up? He's out there and running around and beyond and looking at different universe and so forth. But I think one of the movies coming up is gotta lead into a Loki season 3.
Yeah.
I don't know which movie, but the thing is, we don't know. We'd like to know which movie. The actors just got back from strike. The writers are already writing, so they're going to go full steam ahead. I just hope they don't rush anything for it to be sloppy. I hope they get everything correct or well. That's my fear. But I really, right now, I'm a little puzzled. I think maybe that's the way they could go with it, Alex. I don't know what your thoughts. What are your thoughts on that one? Because I would like to say that, but I don't know. I'm like puzzled right now with it.
We can go a lot of different ways. Season 3 can connect to the Spider-Verse. Season 3 can connect to the X-Men universe. Season 3 can connect to them trying to find the leftover variants of Kang as well. Season 3 can focus on, if they bring Dr. Doom, what are we gonna do with Doom? Like, now Doom has time powers, and now that's a whole another monster you gotta deal with. Because again, I'm not looking at what happens at the end. I'm looking at what happens after Avengers. Because after Avengers, that's it. There's no more Kang. So you got, like, Marvel's like, okay, we're done. We're going to close it up. That's it. No, they have to think of a plan later. And Kevin Feige, as long as he's still alive, has to think that too.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't be doing like, oh, we're going to do Mephisto, and then you do Mephisto 10 years later. Don't do that shit. No. You have so many options, and if you're gonna bring X-Men, then do a X-Men Marvel universe. Just do that. You have Darkseid, you have all these other, you have House of M, you have all these things that you can do that can really set it up. You can actually bring Mephisto into these type of things. You can bring more Ghost Rider, Galactus. You can bring the Eternals, because the first movie sucked. So you gotta try to fix that movie.
That was bad. Yeah,
exactly. Blade is coming in. Bring more Blade things. Like, you have all. If you're gonna bring the Young Avengers, then bring the Young Avengers. And Young Avengers have had different stories, and stuff like that. Do that. Can't wait to see what they do with Dr. Doom. What I am kind of worried for is that the Deadpool movie coming out is going to be a watered down version of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Because I read the book, and that book is very dark, but it has a meaning, and it's kind of funny at the end, but it has a meaning. If Deadpool, if Deadpool has a premonition that he has to kill everybody to stop everything, then that's fine. That's why he's probably killing everybody or whatever. But I just want it to work. I want the Secret Wars to work. I don't want Kang to be a Beyonder, because that's what they're saying, that Kang's going to be a variant of the Beyonder. I'd rather it be Dr. Doom or somebody. Okay. We are going to get a Fantastic Four movie in the future, in the next 2 years, hopefully. So that's another reboot that we don't fucking need. But again, and you have the Scarlet Witch. You can make a House of M movie. You can make one. Also, where the fuck is White Vision? Let's talk about that, ladies and gentlemen, before we one last thing. One question for you, Kevin.
He's on my shelf.
Where do you think White Vision is?
He's on my shelf. You see him there?
Exactly. That's what I mean. Spoiler warning, ladies and gentlemen, for the Marvels, they don't talk about White Vision. I was waiting for it. No one has talked about him, and he's alive. He's out there.
Yeah. Don't know where the hell he's at, but you know what, you intrigued something to me, that you open up my thoughts that I didn't think about while you were talking. I'm listening and I go, you know what, things came in my head was season 3 they could do with Loki. They're going back to that variant that they didn't that Morbius hesitated to prune. Remember, since they didn't prune him, other variants popped up.
Yep.
That's how you could introduce a Doctor Doom.
True.
With a TV series, they don't have to, and at the end of the series end, it could be a limited series. Doctor Doom rises to power, and then he's a problem, and that's Loki 3, because Loki's watching and he doesn't know, he's gonna have to send a Beyonder, or Doctor Doom finds a 10 pad and gets to that reality there and becomes a Beyonder, because Doctor Doom learns the technology and steals the TVA book and all that good stuff, and becomes a problem, and then you introduce a Doctor Doom. And then you have in between you could have the Fantastic Four where he's the main villain, but then he could see that at the one of his spoilers at the end of the Fantastic Four is from the Loki series, that type of Doctor Doom talking to that other Doctor Doom and defeat by the Fantastic Four to set up for Secret Wars, giving him the time book. There's so many different things you could do there to lead into their Easter egg wise, and then you could set up the different sequence of events for the upcoming Marvel phase 6 or 5, whichever one they're in right now, and
they're
boom,
in 5 and 6.
you could just go ahead and explode it, and you could still interact with the Disney Plus series with the motion pictures, and you have a great multiverse of spaghetti there with meatballs that it could give us as Marvel consumers. I like it.
That's a good point too, because they can make Doctor Doom the next big bad for phase 7 and 8. And what I want, because in Young Avengers, if they're gonna copy Young Avengers and bring them to the main screen, there's a guy called Iron Lad, who is a variant of Kang, but a young Kang. And for me, Marvel, you want to take this story, take it. I don't give a shit. They do Secret Wars, and Kang does something that makes Doctor Doom alive, and he does that only for if the only way to defeat Doctor Doom is that you need my help. So in 7 and 8, you can bring back Jonathan Majors to help you fight Doctor Doom, and brings it back full circle. I love that too. And again, I want more series coming out that shows off. Again, I'm happy for Hawkeye. I'm happy for Miss Marvel. I'm happy for Ant-Woman, whatever you want to call her. But come on, y'all need to. It's almost 20. It's about to be 2024 in a month. Y'all need to speed this up and start making an Avengers. You need to start doing this now. Echo should be an Avenger as well. She could be like the Black. I guess they're Black Widow in a sense, or like their version of Daredevil. I don't know, but she needs to be. And again, one more thing before we go, I love talking about this. Your 6 Avengers that you want to be in at the end of the 2025-2026. Again, if we do it like this, you only have 2 options really, because you have Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Ant-Man's daughter, and White Widow. So that's 4. So 2 options for you, sir. And and Riri from the Black Panther movie.
Oh, that's 5. Damn,
that's 5. So 1. It's 6.
I'm not feeling none of these new Avengers. I'm a classic. I'm a classic guy. I like the classic. But if I have to pick one to just for the argument's sake, can we finally put Spider-Man in there, man? I mean, they're always shunning him out. Coño. Yep. Put him in, get the kid a break, or even if they want to go with Miles Morales, something. But to me, it seems like it's going to be She-Hulk,
and that's stupid. And you just introduced not for you. It's stupid if they do that. It's stupid if they do that. But it's stupid if they do that because you have Hulk's son. You have Hulk's son,
Scar,
and he's a teenager in a sense. So that's what I was thinking. There's a 6. But then what about Okay, remember the show Captain America? Yeah, Captain America. What's it called? The show that Falcon became Captain America.
Yeah, it was the Falcon and the Winter. Oh my God,
Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Right. Now the first Captain America, which was a black guy, he had a son. He's supposed to be an Avenger as well.
I like that.
He's supposed to exactly. That could be a nice little young. Again, these are all these people that's more than 6. That's like
because he already had the serum. the original Captain America, and he fathered a child. So that comes with genetics. So he already has a super soldier serum on the young man in Baltimore that he meets, that when Falcon goes to talk to him to look for him, and he gets confronted, and he stops him there. Yeah, you know what? Great point there when you brought that, because you don't have to go with him getting experimented. He already has it natural.
Nope.
And then maybe Sam Wilson, the Captain America burden is too heavy on him, while the son wants that embrace because he wants to honor his father's legacy that was never acknowledged by the United States government or whatever, Marvel world, and he wants to now take that mantle. He's up for it, and he will be a bigger and better Captain America than Falcon.
True.
And live up to it because he's honoring his father with motivation. Oh my God, what a story! I mean, my goodness, let's go.
You know what I think as well, because I saw a spoiler, like I said, a spoiler, but I think as well they're gonna do, if they do this smart, we have two options. We can do Doctor Doom at the end of the Kang War, or we can do Norman Osborn and do Siege against Ragnarok. Against a Siege against where all the Asgardians are as well. We can do Dark Avengers. We can do all these things because Norman Osborn is a big player. If you're gonna bring Spider-Man, bring Norman. It makes damn near sense. That's what I think. So do that. Oh, also X-22. She's out there too. She's out there as well too. So that could be also. And again, I forgot to say, ladies and gentlemen, there is going to be an Armor Wars movie as well with Rhodey. So that can bring in Ironheart. But that's the problem. We got to wait till the freaking Armor Wars movie to bring in Ironheart for the Avengers. And that's not for a freaking year. For a freaking year. And then also Black Panther as well. Riri. That's another one. Like we have all the, and then we have again Namor. All these guys coming in. I like the lineup, but it's taking too damn long.
I agree. The strike didn't help it. That strike
didn't help
Hollywood didn't help it. They lose momentum because out of sight, out of mind. You know what
he's doing? Getting that money, just setting it up. But
yeah, and I'm interested to see the box office numbers for the Marvels coming up to see if they did.
I can tell you
because I personally didn't. You haven't seen and I love this. You can see I got memorabilia. I love this stuff, and it didn't intrigue me to get my ass up to go to the theaters to plump up.
I can tell you the money for the first day. How much it made on the first day? $6 million.
Oh, that's not good. No fucking way. Excuse me with the language. Wow. And it's November, November, the weather's changing, people are, I can't say it. It's not like the old days that people will go to the malls to try to get Christmas shopping or ornaments and stuff. And you know what, let's catch a movie. Let's go get it at the food court. It's different times. We're talking about 10, 15 years later. I know we're in a different time, but Coño, the movie still is a movie, still an event, at least I see it, I will like, go to, when the next Marvel movie that comes out. We were talking about which one you said. What's the next one coming out?
Let's see. I think it's good. Oh, Captain America, number 4.
4. I for many reasons. One is I love Captain America, my favorite one of all. And it's Captain America 4. I'm gonna go see it. Plus Seth freaking Rollins is in it. That's another selfish. I'm gonna actually plunk the money and go there opening Thursday night. I'm going there. I'm gonna go watch it. That enticed me to get my butt up and move. The Marvels didn't really, because of course. They had the strike. They couldn't really promote it. They couldn't give it the gist of it. So I understand that, because it happened with Heels, the series. They couldn't promote season 2, and it didn't go anywhere because of the strike. I hope they're able to promote the living crap out of it now with the Super Bowl coming up with all the Marvel stuff, and let's go for it because advertising makes the difference. Word of mouth.
I will see Captain America 4 no matter what. Like I want to see that. And again, there's a new Venom movie.
Oh, I didn't know there was a new Venom movie because the last two. I mean, honest with you, that did not move the needle.
No, it didn't. It didn't well. No, you're right. You're right. Like I said, this Marvel movie coming out, it's not the end all be all wow thing. It's just And again, I went, and ladies and gentlemen, I told Kevin this is exclusive. I saw it yesterday with my wonderful wife, Cardal. I love you. And we went there at 6:55. There was 4 showings, and we were on the second to last one. 25 people. That's it, dude. Out of a 200-seat theater room, 20 people. That's it. And again, I got there early. No, actually, I got there late. I got there like it started at 6:55. I got there at 7:10, and then we had to wait for the Mi tierra, all that thing happening, and the fucking Burger King commercials. After that, then it was just like, that's it. I enjoyed it visually, ladies and gentlemen. The movie is visually beautiful. The colors, the fight choreography is very CW. If you like CW fighting, I'm not shitting on it. You know, look, I had two people. There we go.
Wow,
See?
you could have done the popcorn trick and got away with it.
Yeah. Shout out to Wendy's. Pay for one meal, got for two for free. So thank you for that one person that messed up logistically. Love you.
Wow, you had the AEW special.
Yeah.
2 for 1.
But that's wrestling, Jimmy. Final thoughts on Marvel, Kevin, as a whole, before we get out of here.
Well, as a whole, it's with Loki, the way from watching the first 2 seasons, a series that I would love, would love to sit again and binge watch, because now you can watch it over and over, not waiting week to week. You're not going to lose. For those that didn't watch it and going to binge watch it, it's worth the weekend to sit down. After you eat your turkey and you have nothing on Black Friday, you're not a sports fan and you got nothing on Black Friday and you're off from work, I recommend you to binge watch the Loki series. You're not going to be disappointed. You're going to be intrigued. You're going to enjoy it, because now it's going to open up your mindset to listen, to be creative yourself. What direction is Marvel going to go next? And if let's say you lost the spark on Marvel after the Infinity Wars, if you watch this, it's going to it's going to give you that spark of getting back into the Marvel world or the universe, because there's a lot of what if questions. And if your goal as Disney with Feige and Helm to promote that or intrigue your thoughts of wanting more, this is the proper series to do it. She-Hulk didn't do it. And I like the She-Hulk. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. I liked it. If I had its place, because but that's another conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But prior to that, but Loki was a cinematic masterpiece with all the angles, with suspense, with thriller, with action, with thought processing, and made you think. And that's what you want. At this time now, everything is cookie cutter and everybody wants it now. This didn't do this. It was something different, which was refreshing. And that's what Marvel gets to me, thumbs up. And I can't wait to see what other projects they do here with that kind of style of cinematic and storytelling with those writers. Those writers, they got to keep using them and they got to keep having them do their masterpiece on a blank canvas. And let's, make a beautiful art. And I'm for it. Well worth it. It's not a waste of time of a series. Let's, I bravo to that. Bravo. If you're a Loki fan with Tom Hollandson, he is Loki. That's it. I hate to say it, that where actors get stereotyped or typecast in one role, the same way with Downey Jr. These guys are dumb. These roles were meant for that man, and that role of Loki was meant for that man. My God, whoever cast him 20 years ago, dude, you know how to cast talent. That's my last thoughts.
That's true. I am happy, like I said in the beginning of the episode, I'm happy that Loki finally got the arc they deserved. Every one of the Avengers has finally got an ending that they deserved. Everyone. So the circle is complete. And I'm happy for that, except for Rhodey. But we'll get to that with Armor Wars. I hope they take this momentum and say, look, we took the time, we took the effort, we took the writing, we actually thought about this, that we used the references, we used something that we've never thought before, which is time, and actually worked with it. And we're going to do time for the next 2 years. So let's really just do it and do it right. And again, thank you, Chris the Flash, like Wolverine, the same. I know there's the woke media, and I know everyone wants to do it like that, but look, this is not the time for that. We want stories. There is no good movies right now. You know what they're making right now, and I just saw this in theaters, and it's coming out in November. I think November, December. Ferrari with Adam Driver and Penelope Cruz. Right? And I was like, and I told myself, wait a minute. They already did a movie like this, and they did do a movie like this in 2012 called Ferrari. So all they're doing is just doing remakes of stuff now. We got Oppenheimer, Ferrari, Ford. We're going to get Honda next year? I don't want to fucking hear the story of Honda.
with John Cena.
I'm good. So what we have left, ladies and gentlemen, are just stories from DC, Marvel, and just the imagination of one person taking the time. We're getting stories from Five Nights at Freddy's. We're getting stories from Barbie, maybe from Ken movie. Let's go. You know, and just stuff like that. So be happy what we get, because you don't know what the hell's going on, man. And by the way, one of my favorite brothers from around the world, my brother, how are you, sir? Once again, sorry I haven't been on Twitch for a while. My PlayStation died, trying to save money for a PS5. Waiting for Black Friday. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Aquí puertorriqueños pelea. What's today's topics? Today's topics are Loki episode 5 and 6 of season 2. We talked about it and have our final thoughts. Come back to the beginning of this and watch this because it's really good discussion.
Oh, Alex,
stay healthy.
Before you fix your outro, I wanted to say, because I know you are a former member of the United States Army. Am I correct? Navy. Thank you for your service and Veterans Day.
Yeah.
I want to give you your acknowledgement to all those that served. Thank you so much. It's Veterans Day. Gracias un montón. We appreciate for all the freedoms that allow us to talk about these Marvels and all the other different programs and for protecting and serving the country. Alex, gracias un millón for the service, and everyone, all the men and women and that are serving our country. I just wanted to give that before the day was over.
Of course. And everyone, happy Veterans Day. For everyone that is in service, if you need help, find help. If you need time to heal, find time to heal. A soldier doesn't turn off. It never turns off, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, stay healthy, stay happy. I want to give a thanks to Jedi Kev. In the future, we will do Gen V. I just got to keep up to it right now. Once we get the Gen V, we'll get to it. Once Kevin watches the Marvels, if he wants as well, we'll do a review on the Marvels. It's probably just be 10 minutes of the good, the bad, and the but we'll still do it anyway. Stay healthy, stay happy. Rican reactions on the road to 1,000 again. Thank you, Mr. Jedi Kev, BX Sports Jedi Kev, for giving the time, the effort, the space. Shout out to D-Walk. NXT Tide with D-Walk on 9 o'clock. Shout out to the PWF Wrestling Talk. PWF Wrestling Talk at 10 o'clock. Shout out to Coquito Underground, which is me. Immediately after this, I'm jumping into the news to talk about a guy. You know what? Come to my show. You'll find out for yourself. Good night, everybody. Bless you too, Lone Sniper Wolf. Love you, brother. I'm coming back soon, man. Coming back soon. Good night.
You've made a mistake coming here.
Release Superman while you still can.
You do not know the power of the dark side.
You're the only one that was nearly as strong as me. Oh, no. I'm the upgrade.